Someone who's an influencer, they're only going to do the poppest, most mainstream thing to get the most clicks and views. You do understand, and I'm sure you've seen this before, and not to denigrate on any of these people, but it is the girl who became a playmate and then wants to sing, become a DJ, wants to sell cryptocurrency and become a real estate agent at the same time. You know that girl, right?
Yeah.
And you started off as a singer.
Yeah.
You could model also, but you didn't start off as an influencer and then moved in. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
And I see this so frequently, or the model who wants to become an actress as opposed to the woman who went to Juilliard and then also models at the same time.
Right. I mean, no hate against anybody who does, because there's people that are influencers that can, cross over and have a very successful career. But for me, I've never wanted to just do anything other than sing.
Yeah.
So
when you meet people like that, though, you can tell the difference pretty quickly.
Yeah, I think that's what being in LA kind of shows you when you are an actual artist. I'm not putting anybody down, but I'm just saying, like, when I have a conversation with somebody, I could tell, like,
how serious they're taking
about it. Yeah, you about that life.
The
I'm
thing,
about that
so
life.
I was an actor for 2 years in LA. I worked for a casting agency, or not casting agency. I worked for a management company, and I was an actor. And I remember very clearly being able to tell this fucking guy is way better than me. Like immediately being like, this is his life, right? I'm working for a hedge fund on the part time. This guy's life is being an actor. I could tell this is a serious human being who is much better than me. And it causes me to actually appreciate actors more because I can tell how hard it is for them to do it. Same thing when I can't sing worth a fuck. And then I see you and you're awesome. And it's like, to me, I come to the realization of how much harder it is. I love watching people at the top of their craft to be able to do what they can do.
Yeah.
And so that's always really interesting to me when you can tell when somebody's like very serious about it or when somebody's like a big influencer who's trying to become a DJ. You know what I'm saying?
Right. I think the big key differentiator there is actually just like how much time do you put towards your craft? Because if you start off as like an influencer, but then you go, you know what? I'm going to be the biggest superstar on the planet, and I don't care what anybody says. And if you go in, you're home, you're writing, you're recording yourself, you're working on your media training, you're doing everything you can as an artist, and you go 150%, like that's you working on your craft. So like, yeah, if you're about it, like it's very obvious, But yeah, I mean, I think a majority of people just think maybe
because they think what you do is easy. That's why.
Right.
They think you just call up Timberland. And he just sends you a beat. You call up Ye. You call up Ye, and he just sends you a fucking beat. You know what I'm saying? And then you're just famous. That's what they think. They legitimately think that's how it works.
Yeah.
For like rappers and artists, I've seen this, happen several times before. The other thing is, and you just tell me if you feel this way. If you put out music that you loved and other people didn't, you kind of wouldn't give a fuck. You'd kind of be like, I'm doing, some of this is for me, my creative expression.
Yeah.
Where someone who's an influencer, they're only going to do the poppest, most mainstream thing to get the most clicks and views.
Yeah, that's a thing. That's always been the big debate. Like, it's like, do you want longevity or do you want like a quick microwavable song, right? And that's what like TikTok has kind of introduced to us is like these songs could be really big moments in time, but they're not necessarily here 20 years later, like some of the greats that like I've studied, like when I look at music, I don't want to just be here today, gone tomorrow. I mean, like my favorite artists are the stars like Mariah Carey, Whitney Houston, like Celine Dion, like real like singers, real artists, that are still memorable, right? And that's the issue is like today, because the internet, it's a great thing to have. We have so much content. It's just like, what's here to stay, what's here to go. And you can very clearly tell when it's a very microwavable moment. So you kind of got to keep reinforcing like, no, here's another one. No, I'm here to stay. Like, here we go.
And the other part of it is like, I'm old enough to remember like all of Cardi B's tracks and Megan Thee Stallion. These are all 3 6 Mafia tracks that I'm listening to these beats.
Yeah.
Now, these came out 20 years ago. Like that's an old track from Bill Withers. That's like these tracks are being redone, and then I'm listening to it and I'm like, oh yeah, and I think it's the old song, and then I'm talking to somebody next to me who's 25, and I realize, wait, they don't remember the original track. They don't remember that Juicy J made this track. They don't have any idea that Mariah Carey did this original track. They don't remember at all. This is originally Aretha Franklin's track. Correct. They don't remember that at all. Or Bill Withers, who's probably the most sampled dude of all time. Yeah. They don't remember that.
Yeah, samples today can confuse. But so it's interesting because I talk about this a lot with one of the producers I work with. So it's like, it's introducing to the new generation this sound that they've never, they don't know the older records. So maybe they're just like, this is dope. Like they might think it's cool, right? But the people that really know the music appreciate it because you go,
Yeah.
oh yeah, that's familiar. I remember that record.
There was
you know?
you have to pay royalties when you jack a beat like that. And so if you listen to tracks like Paul's Boutique by the Beastie Boys, or you listen to old NWA tracks or the Ghetto Boys or 3 6 Mafia or UGK, they sample so much stuff like I think 1993, and then afterwards they have to stop and they have to like pay the artist for it. But like if you go back and listen to old Ice Cube tracks, every single track is ganked from somewhere else.
Yeah.
Same thing with Biggie's early tracks. Like it was a very different time, especially with early hip hop where stuff was like that. And then I hear these beats and I'm like, oh, you don't remember the original track. You don't even know what it was.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
I like sampling though because I do love paying, because there's a way that you could do it where you're paying homage, right?
Of course.
It's not like a ripoff.
So you're allowed to do covers, but you still do have to pay royalties to the writer. Is that how it works?
Yeah, there is a percentage that goes, of course, because you have a license at that point. But even in my original records, like a lot of the stuff that is coming out next for me is definitely going to have samples, but it's in a way that makes you go, I remember that time.
Oh, for sure, yeah.
And it's introducing something new at the same time, but it's kind of giving you a little hint of something that was here before, which is really, really nice.
Yeah.
So I think people would like it.